Welcome to the show, everybody. This is Direct Sports Daily. I'm your host, George Bennett. With me is my co-host, Robert Gluck. And today, we're going to be talking about the NBA Draft that just concluded. So, looking at things, Rob, no real huge surprises coming out of last night other than Jimmy Butler going to the Timberwolves. So, I think let's talk about that to begin with. How do you like the fit of Jimmy Butler in Minnesota?
I like it under the just ignoring that the Golden State exists. Like we already had that conversation about it almost doesn't matter, but ignoring them, I think it's a great move. Tom Thibodeau reconnecting with his best player, when he was with the Chicago Bulls. I think they have a connection. It sounds like heard an interview with Thibodeau, and he seemed really pumped. They talked, super late in Paris, which is where Butler was when he found out about it. I mean, so you can tell they have a little bit of a connection if the coach is calling that late to just say, welcome to the team. And then
my only issue with that is, it seemed to me as though Jimmy Butler, broke out as a scorer once Thibodeau had left, though.
Yeah, that's...
he elevated his game so much more, after
because
Thibodeau's departure.
He was always a defensive player. I know. I mean, if you just put that on Thibodeau, that he can't really run a good offense, then yeah, you're going to hate this because you're going to kind of waste Jimmy Butler, and that means you're already wasting Karl Anthony Towns because I think he could be an explosive scorer.
I was more playing devil's advocate with that, than actually, thinking that line.
Right, well, I was for me, I don't think like that. I like Thibodeau, and I think offense, I think you can learn offense or you can bring on an offensive coordinator or, offensive coach easier than you can bring in a defensive guy and change the whole mentality. I think Thibodeau will get, a team playing good defense, and if they are struggling at offense, maybe they can bring somebody in, or just adding a scorer that Butler has become kind of fixes offense. Yeah. I mean, sometimes that just fixes the problem, even if your coach isn't a great... I mean, has any of LeBron's coaches been great offensive coaches? But they score a lot because LeBron can elevate a team, so maybe Jimmy Butler can do that.
And it's not like Butler's just going to immediately forget everything he learned the past couple of years.
Shoot a jump shot
about his offensive game. But,
so I love it. I mean, that is a super exciting team. I'm a big fan of up and coming teams. That's kind of, I don't have a horse in the race, so to speak. I like the Pistons, but when they're down, I don't really have a team I'm pulling for. So I always like these young teams, and that's a fun team to be watching.
Here's the thing, just switching gears a bit, being a little selfish, I want to talk about the Pistons and how I forget. Honestly, I got a text from my friend Kai last night. You know Kai, he's a friend of yours as well. Yeah. I don't know why I said mine.
Yeah, I know him.
But I got a text from him last night, oh, what do you think of the Pistons pick? And I completely forgot I was even a Pistons fan because they've been so irrelevant.
You don't, think about it
for a solid decade almost.
Yeah,
ever since LeBron pretty much single-handedly in Game 5 of the 2007 Eastern Conference Finals, he pretty much just ended the Pistons' run.
Yep, just crushed him.
Single-handedly.
25 straight points or whatever.
And he's pretty much owned the East ever since. And
so
it's just the Luke Kennard pick, it did not excite me at all. I was hoping Malik Monk would fall one more spot.
Yeah, one more spot. I was surprised that he was that late. I mean, would you have, and you followed the draft a lot more, especially the Pistons part, would you have wanted to stretch for maybe one of those outside chance, I guess, what's the word? Big boom, big bust picks?
Here's the thing. I'm not sure that guy was out there for them. I'm pretty sure.
What about your guy, Giles?
Harry Giles. He's a little too much of
a...
And I don't know. He's one of those players, I don't know if his style of game even translates anymore. He's one of those guys, like a Jahlil Okafor. I don't know if that sort of player even fits in today's NBA anymore.
So far, no.
Unfortunately, Kennard was just the best guy on the board, and I'm just looking.
I would be nervous about
just
that.
Just going through some of the guys taken behind him, Bam Adebayo.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about
Justin Jackson, T.J. Leaf?
The two names that jumped out to me that I've kind of see, not even big boom because I don't know, but like T.J. Leaf was one. I was like, maybe just a solid stretch four that could be great, or even D.J. Wilson from our hometown Michigan Wolverines. You don't know what you're getting, but he is potentially he's got all the tools and size. And
yeah, that might have been another way to go.
You're super reaching, but Kennard, I don't see what he's gonna do. He's gonna score 8 points a game.
He's a shooter.
You know,
he
makes me nervous. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm nervous about that pick.
It's not the most exciting pick, and I know everybody's gonna bring up the Kyle Singler comparison.
That's the first thing I said to you.
Just because they're both white guys from Duke.
It is literally because they're white dudes from Duke. That is.
Why not J.J. Redick first, though?
Well, no.
I feel like he's
J.J. Redick's too good. Like, Singler bust, so that's how fans go. Like,
I think that his ceiling is probably J.J. Redick, which is unfortunate. Like, J.J. Redick, solid starter in the NBA, which is more than a lot of people thought he would be.
It really was. Especially after, I think we were talking after his Orlando years, you kind of thought...
Oh, yeah.
Not looking good.
He was labeled a bust. And when you look at... What was he, 10th overall or something like that?
He was definitely a lottery. I don't remember. He was a higher pick, yeah.
Yeah, and I think he's lived up to where he was drafted.
I think so. I think his years in the Clippers gave him that. I would say. I mean, you could still say he should have done better as a lottery pick. Some people, but I never thought when he went that he was going to be an all-star player. I thought, man, he's going to stretch it out, and he's such a dynamic shooter. He's going to, and eventually he lived up to that. I think you can't leave him for a minute. Yeah. So,
I think this is a draft of very few surprises. I mean, I think. First, you had the slight surprise of Boston going with Jason Tatum over Josh Jackson. But when you really break it down, Josh Jackson just seems like he does a better job of what Jaylen Brown does to me. So I could understand the pick by Danny Ainge going Jason Tatum. And I think that was a very solid pick.
Yeah,
and Jason Tatum might save you from looking stupid for passing up on Markelle Fultz.
Yep. I think he'll be a good
years from now.
Good to great player. I like that pick a lot.
Lonzo Ball's obviously with the Lakers. That pretty much is what it is. No surprise there.
I had a mini question about that because I've heard today. Just today I read it somewhere that he was called, I think at the press conference, which I'm actually looking at on TV right now, Magic Johnson called him the face of the Lakers. Is this, I feel like we already kind of talked about how he's there, and we're unsure if he's got the extreme elite talent. But now people are putting that pressure on him. Is that too much? Are we doing too much? Are the Lakers doing too much? Should they have just picked him and shut their mouths? And
I mean, probably, but I don't know. Everybody's talking about this is going to help lure in free agents. They got that cap room and everything. It's how much is LeBron James gonna want to go into that circus that is the Lakers? I know Paul George has already stated he's doing it. I think it's more so because that's his hometown team. That's who he grew up looking at. He's probably a big Kobe fan.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense.
Probably modeled his game after him. But I don't really know. Lonzo Ball, I think he's not going to live up to that second overall pick. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I'm just saying, I get it's weird to me that they came out and said that, or Magic Johnson. Maybe, have a lesser known person say it, but Magic Johnson saying that's a lot of pressure.
Another thing, what else is he going to say?
Yeah, that's true.
Is he going to say, we just picked him and he sucks?
Yeah, that's true.
It's I don't think he's going to do that. So
that's very fair. Okay.
Looking at another prospect. First, let's talk about DJ Wilson. He seemed to skyrocket up draft boards, and he nearly cracked the lottery.
Crazy.
After a lot of people questioned whether or not he should have came out at all. What do you make of the Bucks taking the risk with him?
So I was one of the people. he declared with Mo Wagner, the two
Yeah.
big names from Michigan, and they made a really deep run, so they got buzz. They weren't just, it's not just us being slappy homers, which we will be, I'm sure, but not in this case. They got buzz from that deep tournament run. We're taking Oregon right down to the, right down
Plane
to
crash, boys.
Yeah, like they were, and they, so when he came out, when he declared with Mo Wagner, I think a lot of Michigan fans were, like, okay, like they're feeling him out. Mo Wagner came back, and we all kind of expected DJ Wilson to. And when he didn't, I think a lot of people, even people that know sports that weren't Michigan related, thought that was weird. He knew something we did. I don't know if he had, his agent had reached out and could talk to him, or even, his college coach, maybe, Beeline had heard some buzz or talked to NBA coaches. Maybe it's all potential because he is. I mean, we had talked to each other that if he had stayed at Michigan just one more year, I think he would have developed even more and probably been one of the best players in Big Ten, if not the best player. So we saw that potential.
He might have been able to be like a top 5 pick next year.
Yeah,
potentially if like his trajectory kept the way it was.
And it was crazy. The way he played in the tournament was unbelievable. He was, I think, their key player. Right there was Wagner and actually.
But we're starting to see a trend with John Beeline churning out some NBA talent. It's like going back to like a Darius Morris, Tim Hardaway Jr., Karis LeVert. The list goes on. Sauce Castillo, Trey Burke. Like all these guys, first-round picks, some of them lottery.
Yeah.
It's like I don't think people, like, quietly John Beeline's developing sort of a pro factory here in Ann Arbor.
He's getting that kind of Lloyd Carr feel where, like, you don't hear the names a lot, but they develop into really good players. Trey Burke was, we didn't know a lot about him. He's a good, I think he's a really solid, pick, or not a pick, but a recruit.
Yeah, he was Mr. Basketball in Ohio.
Yeah, but he ended up
Ohio's not exactly the biggest basketball state.
They became player of the year in college basketball. And I think a lot of that's Beeline. Beeline's always one of the greatest offensive minds, I think, going right now.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you're seeing, if he gets even a little bit of talent, which he did with that team, with Tim Hardaway Jr. and Glenn Robinson III.
Mitch McGarry.
They should have won the championship. They just lost to a team that played hot, and they kind of fell apart a little bit. And that's what he did with 2 years of talent. And when he doesn't have talent, he does develop it well. So I love him. That's my team, and I'm so happy to have him as the coach. I would be so mad if he wasn't, because I think he'd be playing Indiana level ball. Like, we should be better, but not. It was
so. Just moving on real quick. Sorry to cut you off there. I just want to get to some of these other guys.
Yeah.
Josh Hart, I think, was a solid pick for the Jazz.
Yeah.
At the end of the first round.
I liked him in college.
A guy you mentioned, Jordan Bell, goes to, I think, the Bulls. The 38th pick in the draft changed hands so many times.
Yeah.
It says here he went to the Bulls.
Bulls from Sacramento.
Via Cleveland, straight into the Golden State Warriors. So Golden State ultimately ended up with him.
State. I can't tell. Let's talk about him like he's on Golden State.
Solid pick there.
Love that pick. I think that's a genius pick for a team.
Especially late. I think he could develop into sort of a Draymond Green type.
Yeah, I think that's
taken around the same spot. It's like
it's weird. I mean, there's a reason Golden State gets a lot of heat for the Kevin Durant thing, but. No one, people remember, but they should remember and take note that they drafted amazing for years, and that's how they got that nucleus. And then they got Kevin Durant, which sealed it and kind of wiped out that history. But that is a team that drafts and signs free agents well. Andre Iguodala was a great pickup, back when people were kind of like, I don't know if he's that guy, if he can be that guy. But then they worked him into the perfect role.
He was damaged goods after he left Denver for the most part.
So that's a great pick. I think he'll develop into at least an awesome seventh man off the bench, sixth man.
Sindarius Thornwell goes to the Clippers.
I don't know who that is. Sounds like an evil villain for sure.
You don't remember him from that South Carolina team?
Yeah. He's like the Final Four. I forgot about that team in general right after they lost because
a lot of interesting second round picks. Isaiah Hartenstein, kid from Germany who I've actually watched tape on. This is what I was doing when I wasn't watching tape on Frank Yeah.
Are you talking about
Nidalkina? Yeah, whatever his last name is.
By the way, I gotta
French
say,
guy.
did you see his story? Very cool that he flew in at he left at 5 a.m. from Germany or wherever to be at the draft, and he was flying back to play in
France.
France. Yeah, yeah. Well, he's playing in Game 5 of whatever
the
league.
championship.
Yeah, so that was
pretty cool.
Honestly, I went from making fun to I'm gonna root for him.
Yeah,
good for him. That was a very classy move.
Unfortunately, he went to the Knicks, which.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about that real quick. There was a lot of talk of trading Kristaps Porzingis right before the draft. How little does Phil Jackson know about what he is doing right now?
The only thing I would say about him not being insane, because he's insane clearly, it seems, is it kind of reminds me of if you're dating a girl or a guy, and I'm sorry,
where is this analogy?
I'm just leaving a little analogy for the people. It's gonna be terrible. I'm sorry, but if you have a rough patch and they clearly hate you, and it's not gonna work out, get rid of them. But if you have that rough patch and there's something that's what if there is clearly some bigger rift that we don't know about, then okay, you should just be done with it. It's not gonna work out. He's probably gonna be this mess where he doesn't show up to things, whatever.
Dating Advice Daily, hosted by Robert Kluke.
Tune in after this podcast. But it's a weird analogy. That's kind of how I look at it. Unless there's nothing more, or unless there's more going on than we know about, Phil Jackson's being crazy. But if maybe there's a rift that we don't know about, then maybe you need to get rid of him and blow it up, because you don't want a player that doesn't want to be there, who doesn't want to play for you. He's going to be a cancer with all the people that you try to bring in. All the free agents aren't going to want to come if you see this guy constantly acting out or not showing up for these things or not playing hard or whatever it might be. So.
The moral of the story is I really like Isaiah Hartenstein.
Who?
He was a second-round pick. Looks like he's going to the Rockets. Okay. Another stretch 4 for them. So
if they need him, God, they don't have any shooting on that team.
And Nigel Williams-Goss from Gonzaga ends up going in the second round to the Jazz. So the Jazz, they got some solid depth in their backcourt now. We'll see if they can re-sign George Hill or
Gordon Hayward, huh?
Possibly. A guy I really like too, Frank Mason III, goes to the Kings.
I really like him.
Going to be a solid backup for fellow rookie De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, he's older too, so he'll have a little bit of leadership. I think he's one of those good leaders who could be. Yeah, you'll give him 2 more years, he'll be a good leader in the pros.
I think the big story of this draft has to be the point guards. So, just to wrap things up, who do you think is going to be the best of all the point guards?
And I really do think this. I'm not just trying to be devil's advocate because I think you're going to say Fultz, but De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah,
I think he could be. His upside is so huge. He's going to a team where he's going to have every opportunity in the world to be the guy. And they'll be patient with him because they have to be. There's no other options.
When the Kings were sitting there at 10, I was really I hadn't even thought about the fact that Malik Monk might slip to the Pistons at 12. Yeah, so I was hoping they would take Malik Monk at 10. They actually ended up trading the pick to Portland, and Portland I think took Lauri Markkanen, who I think is going to be good there next to Yusuf Nurkic. But how cool would it have been for the Kings to have the Kentucky backcourt?
That would have been sweet. That would have been very cool. And I think they're both going to be really good players.
Yeah.
Malik Monk, I was surprised he dropped that far. A weird side note that we didn't talk about.
Yeah, I think undersized guy. But when you saw the picks coming off the board, other than maybe Frank Ntilikina, was there anybody you thought I can't imagine them taking that guy over Malik Monk? It felt like
there wasn't.
He sort of went around where he should.
You're right.
It seems as though he should have went higher, but this is just, I think, a really talented draft. And I know we said that what was it, 2014 or so? It was either 2014 or 15 where that amazing draft with Joel Embiid, Andrew Wiggins, Jabari Parker headlining, and hasn't quite played out that way yet. But
D turns it around. At least you can. And Jabari, if they both can stay healthy.
Anybody can stay healthy.
There you
If
go.
Wiggins can learn how to
yeah.
defend somebody, maybe.
Jimmy Butler will teach him.
But I want to thank everybody for watching and listening. This has been another episode of Detroit Sports Daily. This has been Robert Gluck. I've been George Bennett, and we'll see you next time. If you like that video, check out some of our others, and hit the subscribe button to keep up to date on all the latest uploads from Direct Sports Daily.